Hannah, and today I am here to review The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is a romance book that came out last year, and I had first heard of it when it did come out, and I was keeping my eye on it as something that I wanted to read eventually in the future. And then a couple months ago, one of my friends brought the book up and told me that it is based on like it is Rilo fan fiction. There was part of me that was like, okay, and then there was another part of me that was like, I gotta read this to see exactly what that means. So I was always planning on reading it eventually, just like when I got around to it, but it wasn't super high up on my list. Then I visited my friend over the weekend, and she happened to have Love Hypothesis on her shelf, so I was like, man, we're gonna be driving a lot, so I might as well grab it to try and read it and finish it. And I was able to read it over the course of 2 days and get done with it, and I have a lot of thoughts on it. So first of all, I realized I keep getting it confused with the Kiss quote, which has a autistic main character, so I was confused for a little while about that, but then I realized they're two different books that I'm thinking of, Love Hypothesis and Kiss Quotient. So basically what it's about is this girl Olive is a third-year PhD student studying in the science, and her love interest is Adam, who is a professor in the same PhD program, or school, at least not the program but the school that she goes to. And what starts off this book is that she is trying to convince her friend that the guy that she dated very briefly, that her friend has a crush on, that she's not into him anymore, so her friend won't feel guilty and will like actually be able to date him and be happy. So she kisses Adam, not knowing it's Adam, and he basically, after that kiss, agrees to fake date her, so her friend will think that she's moved on and she's not into the guy anymore. So they agree to start this kind of fake dating relationship, and things go from there. So I really, really liked it. Like I said, there were parts of this book that I really liked, and then there were parts of this book that I really didn't like and brought the writing down for me. So I want to talk about the things that I liked about first. First of all, I really thought the whole setting of the PhD candidacy and all that was really, really cool. I feel like you don't read that all that often, and for me at least it felt very realistic. I'm not in a PhD program, but just it was very reminiscent of like college, so I imagine PhD is like college on steroids, and it's like that kind of crunch of like, you know, you're just working, little pay, you have like no money and all that, and I really felt like that was an interesting setting. And also, like, I'm not a super sciencey person, but it was nice to read a character who is into like super science and like, you know, looks at things factually and through the data and stuff like that. And I just thought that was a really interesting way to present it. And each chapter starts with like a little hypothesis about what's going to happen in the chapter as like a little hint of what's to come. So I really like the setting. Olive as a main character, for the most part, I really did enjoy her. I think she was very interesting, and I think the kind of like imposter syndrome she had in being like, I'm in this PhD program, but is this really the right fit for me? Like, do I belong here? Is it really like my credibility? Like, am I a good scientist? I think that was very relatable and understandable, and she had some really cute and sweet friendships that I really liked that obviously developed more because, you know, the whole thing that kicks this off is her wanting to be a good friend and convince her friend that she's not into this guy and that her friend should date him because her friend will be happy. So that was really, really sweet. And then I also really, really love Adam. I think he was a really sweet love interest, and it's actually very interesting to me seeing as this is supposed to be a Rilo fanfic, because the thing is, he didn't read like Rilo fanfic to me. Let me get that out of the way right away. I'm not a big Rilo shipper. I was when they first came out, and then afterwards I was like, nah, I'm good. So, and I didn't even see the next 2 movies. I've only seen the first in that newest trilogy, so I don't even know exactly what happened with them. But things I just remember about Kyle is he's like super manipulative and like controlling and obviously all that stuff. And the kind of aspect I guess they make in that with him is that he is like the meanest, toughest, most like no nonsense professor. So like he regularly makes people cry, and, you know, is just a hard ass about like the data that they have and making sure it's all right, and just has a very brisk tone about being like, this is terrible, like you need to redo it, instead of being like, good job, like you really tried hard, but this isn't gonna work, so we need to do something else, you know, just kind of like the delivery of it. But the thing is, he's always so sweet to Olive. Like, he helps her out multiple times. He's really funny. He like makes jokes, he cracks smiles, and he's just so super nice to her in so many different ways and so many different like love languages of like talking and giving gifts and showing, and like it's so funny to me that he's supposed to be like this mean professor, and I guess that frustrated me because, like, I got that aspect of it, but then, like, he was always so nice to Olive that whenever she would be like, oh, I just feel like he's gonna do this and be mean and get mean, I'm like, but he hasn't. So maybe, like, after, like, the first 2 times, like, I could get with her being like, you know, oh, he might be mean, or he might get mad, or he might just blow me off, or something like that. But then after, like, he continually proves to be a nice guy, it just got annoying when she would be like, oh, he's gonna get mad, or, like, he's probably just thinking that, like, here comes the real Adam. I was just like, girl, like, you were 26, you should be able to, like, think in your head that maybe people have work personas and personal personas, and you should, as a scientist, move off the data that you're getting from him and not just these stories you're hearing from everyone else. Again, not saying that he wasn't, like, a hard ass as a teacher, but just, like, the fact that she used it as such a way to be like, oh, I'm expecting the worst from him was just, like, super frustrating, because I'm like, girl, I have seen and read worse love interest than what you're getting right now. So I really, really liked Adam. Like I said, I thought he was a lot funnier than I thought he was gonna be, probably because Kylo, like, never cracked a joke that I saw. Like, I feel like it was like Adam's Driver, you know? Like, I feel like that, wait, Adam, I just made that connection. I feel like it was like Adam Driver. Like, you know how he just seems super serious, but then, like, when you see him on SNL, he's, like, got, like, this dry sense of humor and he's really funny and stuff. I feel like that was Adam, you know, not Kylo. And Olive, like I said, was really sweet, and their relationship was really cute. So yeah, that was, I think my main issue of that was just, yeah, the whole, like, how she would expect kind of the worst from him at multiple times. And I was like, but he is always so sweet and kind to you and understanding and, like, so sweet. Like, when are you going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt? Like, that's why I felt kind of bad for, you know? I'm like, this dude's doing all he can to show you that he's a good guy, and you're still kind of expecting the worst from him. So that was a little frustrating. And then I also thought it was a little strange because for the majority of this book, it is not really spicy. Like, there's, like, some thinking and some, you know, flirtatious thoughts going on and stuff, but for the majority it's not. And then there's one particular chapter at the end that is very spicy, so it was just weird to me because, like, I was in the mentality of, like, oh, I'm reading, like, a more, like, PG rated romance book, which there's nothing wrong with that. I just like to know what I'm getting into in the beginning, if it's going to be spicy or if it's going to be PG, so you can kind of, you know to control your facial expressions in public. So I'm like, oh, it's pretty PG, and then you get to that chapter and you're like, oh, but, like, I feel like that also makes it hard to, like, sell, because it's like, I feel like people who want more PG, like, that one scene is going to be, like, too much, but then, like, people who are like, oh, I really want a spicy book, I wouldn't say this is spicy. I would be like, well, it's spicy for one part at the end, but up till then, like, not really. So I will say I liked how quickly it wrapped up, because, like, you know, when you always have, like, that big dramatic thing that breaks them up, or maybe doesn't break them up, but, like, they're like, we'll talk. I feel like that kind of happened way more towards the end than I thought. So then, like, we were able to resolve it super, super quickly, and that made it feel a lot better than normally when they're, like, dragged out for, like, 50 more pages, you know? Like, it was resolved so quickly. We were going to a cookie store, and I was reading the book, and I put it down, and my friend was like, oh, how much longer do you have left? And I was like, well, I just got to, like, the big dramatic thing, so probably, like, 50 pages, and I literally had, like, 20 or 15, you know? Like, it just wrapped up so quickly, and I really appreciated that, because I think that made it, like, a lot less needlessly dramatic and stressful. And I think for the most part, I enjoyed their relationship. I think, yeah, just the parts that annoyed me were how much she doubted him. I really also like the representation of Olive, because she is demisexual, and I haven't read a main character who's demisexual, or a character who's demisexual, since All for the Game, Neil Johnston, and then also Steve from, is his name Steve? I think it's Steve, right? From Sex Education. It's been so long since I watched that show. It was like, I don't know if they ever confirmed, like, said the word demisexual, but, like, that's what he kind of realized he was in the latest season, was he needs that emotional connection before he's physically attracted to someone. So I really liked how that was interplayed into the novel. But I just really, really liked it. I think the setting was fun. The voice was really fun. Like, Ali Hazelwood writes a very interesting, fun voice. And like I said, I think mixing it in with, like, the stress of, like, you know, PhD and testing and making sure our p-values are correct and stuff like that. I did have to take a statistics class one time, and so some of the stuff was ringing with me, and one of the things that really got me was when, I think she said, she was saying to Adam, she was like, oh, you just look like your p-value is like 0.06, and I was like, yeah, that would really get my goat if that happened to me. So overall, it was a really, really cute book. I'm happy I read it. I don't think it's, like, my favorite romance book, and like I said, I don't know if Maybe if I was like a big Rilo fan, I could see where this is, but it just doesn't read to me at all like that. Like, I don't really see Rey in Olive except for the fact that like she doesn't have a family, and then I don't really see Adam as Kylo at all. But like I said, maybe his character arc changed a lot in the last two movies that I didn't bother seeing. So I think people maybe who our Rilo fans will enjoy it and see more than I probably seen it. That's not the reason I read this book. In fact, I was kind of actually being like, oh gosh, what's going to happen in this book once I found out that that was what it was based on. So that's why I'm like happy to report that like it seems a lot nicer. No one kidnapped anyone. There was no fighting with lightsabers or otherwise. There was just a lot of fun circumstances and, you know, all that fun stuff that fake dating gets you into, you know, all those situations that we would be so well prepared for if that ever actually happened. So I really did enjoy it. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm excited for the next book in the series. It's going to be, I think, set in like a different world. Like, I don't think there's going to be any character crossover, but it is a STEM novel where it's going to be set as like another person in STEM working and all that stuff, and it sounds like it's going to be enemies to lovers, which I'm really, really excited for. I think Ali has a really fun, strong voice. She writes cute romances, and if the new love interest is going to be anything like Adam, I am super, super pumped to see it. So yeah, if you have read The Love Hypothesis, please feel free to leave your thoughts about it down in the comments, what you thought of Adam and Olive and their relationship and their romance. I thought everything, even the conflict, was really well handled, because the main conflict of the story that happened to turn out wasn't even a conflict between Adam and Olive as the couple, which I thought was really interesting and different, because it makes you still like be able to root for them. Because sometimes when a conflict like that happens, one, mainly the love interest guy, like, let's be real, does something dickish where you're like, I don't want you to forgive this, or like the main character girl has like some, you know, just doubt about herself. There is some miscommunication in this, a lot actually, that is a bit frustrating and like had me just being like, oh, are you kidding me? But it doesn't really contribute to the main conflict outside of the couple, and I think that's why I could be like, all right, even if you don't like miscommunication, like this book, you can still get through it. So I really, really liked it, and I'm excited to see what the next one's going to be like and what you all thought of it, because like I said, I want to know more about this book and what people thought. Like, I think Adam's really cute and sweet, and Olive is like, I do love her, even though she drives me crazy sometimes. I do really, really love her, and I think she's so sweet, and them together as a couple is really cute. And the height difference, guys, the height difference, like, let's talk about that, right? Like, that could sell me on the book, right? You'd just be like, there's a height difference of like 7 inches, and I'd be like, sold, thank you. So yeah, thank you guys all so much for watching this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!